So first I pre-season the water with some sperm from Giga Chad. The eggs shoot out everywhere. I am excited to see these guys hatch. When a male goldfish senses the pheromones from a female goldfish, it drives the male goldfish crazy, and they chase around the female until they've knocked every last egg out of her, and sometimes even after that. Sometimes the pheromones just remain in the water, and they just continue knocking them all around. But when I see this happen, I always release the eggs and the sperm from the female and the male in a different container because one, I'm trying to breed my goldfish, and two, the sooner you release the eggs from the female, the sooner they stop doing that. So first I pre-seasoned the water with some sperm from Giga Chad. Once I got that sperm in there, I then got the other goldfish. This goldfish is actually Stacy's sister and started releasing some of her eggs in this tank as well. Now you'll notice that immediately when you press, the eggs shoot out everywhere. There are eggs everywhere. Some of them stick to the bottom, but other eggs float. The ones that stuck to the bottom, those are alive, healthy eggs. For some reason, there was a lot of dead, unhealthy eggs in this batch as well. But that's okay, I ended up just removing those later. But we did get a fair amount of alive and healthy eggs from this batch. After all the eggs were released, I got a different goldfish that I've chosen a name for, but I haven't announced yet, and I put some of his sperm in there as well. I do want to get as much sperm as possible around these eggs, just to increase the chance of fertilization. After I released his milt into the tank, I got Giga Chad again, and I got some more milt out of him. I'm surprised. He has more milt in him than I've seen in any other male goldfish. The guy just would not quit. He would just add more and more and more. After letting this container sit for around 20 minutes, with enough time to let all the eggs get fertilized, I wanted to remove the water that was in there because it had a lot of milk still in there and it had a lot of dead eggs. And having these organics in the water really makes the water quality spoil a lot faster, and it's just going to be a lot cleaner and healthier for the alive eggs if all the dead eggs and unused sperm and milk is all out of there. So after I removed that water, I obviously needed to add more water because these eggs would quickly dry up and die if I didn't do that. And I ended up getting some water from another tank I had in the greenhouse that was at the same temperature, and I carefully poured it in there. You do want to add water kind of quickly because you don't want these eggs to dry out, but you also don't want to just pour it straight in there and lift them all off the bottom of the container. So I just kind of used my hand as like a little landing pad, and I filled up the tank only a couple inches with some clean water so that I can then move it inside into my room, because we all know what happened last time when I had my tank in the greenhouse. It much overheated and those little eggs got fried. So these eggs will not be getting fried. Anytime you're trying to raise goldfish eggs, two things you want to have in the container is an air stone and also a heater to keep the temperature warm and relatively stable. And after I put these in there, I also added more water to bring the level up to around 10-ish inches. You really don't want to go too much more than 9 to 11 inches of water height, because the higher the water height, the harsher it is on the little mini swim bladders that'll soon be forming in these goldfish once they hatch. The next important step is dosing the methylene blue. And it's funny, I've been getting a lot of people recently commenting, and they're like, Luke, maybe you shouldn't be using methylene blue on the fish eggs. Maybe that's the reason your first batch failed. Don't use the methylene blue. You're using too much of it. I'm like, guys, the reason the first batch of eggs failed is because they went over 86-7 degrees in the greenhouse. That's way too hot for eggs. And two, not using methylene blue would absolutely lower the hatch rate. Not increase it, it would much lower the hatch rate. Methylene blue is a great thing to use on fish eggs. It helps prevent fungus, which is the #1 killer of those fish eggs. After I got the whole tank set up, one thing I noticed that did kind of worry me is that a lot of the eggs that were healthy and they stuck very close together. And the one thing you don't want to happen is you don't want to have all the eggs touching each other. You do want a little bit of separation from them. And the reason you don't want them touching each other is because when one of them gets fungus, it easily spreads to the other ones, and there's just not enough water flow and circulation around that single egg because it's clumped together with a bunch of others, that it's easy for them just to rot in a big clump. So there was a good amount that were spread out, but there also was a good amount that was stuck together. That is a bad thing that happened, but none of this ever happens perfectly. I tried swirling the eggs around, but even with swirling them around, we got kind of some big clumps. But after a little over a day, this is what the eggs looked like, and you can clearly see which eggs are fertilized and which eggs are dead or not fertilized. Those cloudier, whiter ones, those are not fertilized and those are not alive, but the clear ones, and you can almost see just the beginnings of a little ring forming inside those clear ones, those are alive and healthy eggs. But obviously you can see where a lot of them are close together, they're just a lot of big white clumps. But there still are a fair amount of those clear eggs. And I know it doesn't look like a lot of them, but there really is a lot more. There's a lot more here than you really see to the eye. There's eggs over this entire thing. So I am excited to see these guys hatch over the next day or two. I will be keeping you guys updated, but exciting stuff to come. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also don't forget to check out our merch. Thanks for watching. Luke Scoldies out.